young pup to young pup. Get a load of this young pup coming up, Michael Rose. He's like a son to me. I found him out in the boonies. God, he humbles me. This is an old, so he's older than Ted Gill. Hard to believe, this young pup. Well, spoken like a true sage, Ted. Michael Rose is absolutely splendiferous, and like Harvey, I was so wowed by his work. We did an anthology, and he's writing another one now, Rattles, and other poems. Put your seatbelts on. Michael, bless us.
Put on my Paw Patrol shirt just for y'all. Edgar Allan Poe, that is. Yeah. All right. So his first poem is called An Ode to Dylan. It's called The Wellspring. I was watching. I watched some video footage of Bob Dylan strolling with Allen Ginsberg through a graveyard. I don't know whereabouts they were. Allen Ginsberg remarks to Dylan, he says, do you know the words written on Keats's grave? And Dylan says no, and he says, here lies one who's written water. That's the abridged version, right? But I was just listening back to different footages, and anyways, it came to this point. An ode to Dylan, The Wellspring. A twisting tungsten light slides between a pen and paper. The songs sing themselves, he says. The pen drives itself across the pages. There, a holy candle. There, a magic penetrating the stomach, lifting the butterflies up. The magic dried, and the wellspring became caverns. Hands could not pick up the water, hold the tender light. One might think that sadness should rave and madness dawn at the dying of this quiet light. Dylan says, nothing can last forever. Where do the musical eyes turn to? Where does the gravel of his voice roll? Why has the season gone? Sadness has spun from other wells, it seems. Sadness comes from other winds, blows now in the wind with an answer not far away from us at all. I too lose the sunlight dancing quiet. I too know the magic of the trance. I too laugh the immutable laugh and fear the dying of the holy light, the shrinking of the feeling, the slinking end of the poetic gleam. I too sing of the rain, know the suffering clinging hand and fingers in the golden pen of golden rays in golden time. And Hayden mentioned that I had written a book called The Rattles and Other Poems, and I had organized the book on the basis of a 5-line poem, or a 6-line poem, and each of the lines corresponded to a certain theme. Essentially, miscellaneous poems is the first theme, or motifs, I guess, various motifs. And then the second one is my family, and then the third is philosophy, and then the fourth is poetry, and the last is basically love. And so I wrote this poem and I extended it into a sestina, so here it comes. It's called Let Us Go Now, which is an allusion to Eliot. Before the miscellaneous wanderings of the living, my dear family sleeps like the speckled coils of dragons, a singing soil of mountains guarding its treasure's key, before a tall fire lights on the second mountain high, feeding our kingdom's simple thirst beside holy lakes, where falconer and falcon bathe below a golden moon. Oh, here, a book opens wide, twinkles in that moon, unfolds in the desert of a world to meet a few living. Here within the lakes, there within the lakes, again within the lakes. In the nocturnal world, cool eclipse is swinging, swimming, looming dragons, woken eyes, and treasures. Still teapot frame, it tames them steaming tall and high. Music calling an aside, hand budding and blooming a golden oblong key. Where do hands so black and snoozing bring this key? To where does the key fly? Does it track to the yellow moon? Words rise alive from this mind with wings to mountains high. I, in love, dwell with sensual and delight by the earthen flower living. Silent beside the stony well of so many thousand earth-quaking dragons, they swell and drink and swell and drink from the drifting lakes. Go, fly to the jade leaves swimming in the wind near the lakes. They swim like agile minnow and sink to my palm beside the flower key. With a grin, I nuzzle the thousand inflating bellies of the dragons. Shimmering, they are warm and tall below the bellies. They are warm and tall below the marrow of the porcelain moon. I see the fire from the corner of my eye burning brightly. We are living. Often like many ancient ghosts, having forgotten love in altitudes so high. What is this, my loves, my family, this sober kind of high? Have we been lost so long now? Do we not remember the lakes, beaten by the sun, native and heirloom corn-colored lakes? Back then we held the dirt in our hands. Childhood was living. Then, like a suitcase of light, back then we remembered the jangling ring and key. My mother, fair and glad, she threw the keys at the sky, hid them in the earth and moon. I wrote a book much later to tame my heart and the hearts of the dragons. Spanning wings, calls, large like earthquakes, I hear the pride of dragons. Spirits standing tall as trees, eyes to the ceiling jade. Our hearts all travel high. Mine sneaks off at night and chases the platinum moon. It too rare like dragons, and climbing like a moon. Mine also knows the orange glow of its pride, the sprightly banyan tree and its mythic lakes. The lotus in the proffered palm must greet the world and make straight the crooked key, so that the ships of our dreams might know still that godliness can dwell in the living. Go, fly now, great flying dragons, to greet the heart of all dragons. Go, fly and sleep, silver and quiet and massive beside moon-glazed lakes. I will be waiting beside a black kettle and a small fire on a mountain high. I will hand you a book of leaves, autumnal, cracking, and beautiful, this a key. I will swim with and dream of the curls of the lady in the moon, perhaps then lost in a desert of self, but smiling at the sunflower and at the cities of all the living. I'll torture you briefly through one more rather dense poem. So the book that I plan to kind of compile is going to be based sort of around this poem. It's called "I Dreamed That I Was a Philosopher." I wrote it when or I think it's called "The Philosopher and the Poet." Jeez. And I wrote this in Seattle, maybe about 6-7 years ago. I dreamed that I was a philosopher. I saw the galaxy in a grain of sand and followed the question out into the midnight, out through to the morning rain. I followed my thoughts one by one into that abyss of rain and turned like a gear between gears. I watched prayed, watched, prayed. For a long time, I spent my time solving problems, riddles, and I broke them like small pieces of string. And so much time elapsed that I could not count the strings, and I could not love that place that was philosophy. Nor could I transmit the infinite eyes of God to the fool God's world. I am a poet. I shout this beyond the stars and moon. In the light of the sun before the moon, I romanticize the night and sing of love and women and God. Of Brahman, let him rest his eyes in me, for it is said that he has dreamed me up after all. Sweet Brahman, I love the souls of your souls. Do you not know we dream of one another? I am a poet, a rhythmic prophecy. I am a misty-eyed sleep. I am a cloud on top a cloud, and Mount Sinai thunders black, so that I might teach even Moses of stars beyond the horizon of human hands, struck out into the blue of the ceiling's sky. I am that ceiling. I am that sword of blue and yellow light piercing through the matter of human touch. I am beyond an image here. Yes, here. I am an imagination traveled off to meet a black hole, I suppose. And I am the halo of light that beats its howled lights like wings from holes in the universe's holes. I am a thread. A connector. I am not a philosopher. Rather, I am the thread of words, reverberating out to the sky of birds, swirling in the vortex of the arc of perfect arcs of perfect arcs. I am an eagle. How can I not be? I am a philosopher. I am a poet. I am a mouse. Between the woods, between the brambles, between the briars, between the lush, I am all and many things. I am these freely growing words expanding out and out and out like shifts of light into a telescope in the ponds of thought. The ocean of salt rolling into the geysers of the sea, carving the volcanic towers of clouds in the wordy ocean as it for long cleans out the wounds of feet cut by the walk on earth. Carving tombs that steal the nonsense from our hearts and make us most straight lines, stamped out into two-dimensional space, dimensionless, realityless, hopeless. I am not a philosopher. I cannot be. For what is a philosopher but a rhythm? No, I am not a self as the Buddhist suggests. Because what is this self but a rhythm? I am not in control of my words. For I am in a jungle of diamonds that architects my bones and hands. My skeleton is the closest poetic metaphysical span of me, because it presumes nothing and stands as merely the mineral frame of me, as naught but a moment in a flame's life. My bones are no more than a shape. I am a poet, because poetics is the only free truth that ever met the earth and stood forever feetless. I dreamed I was a philosopher, I tell you, but I could not be, because I was a rhythm, and so without shape, naked, 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 and without shame. Thank you.